Did you know you can jump over the clown kick? This is going to be an in-depth guide on every monster in R.E.P.O, and before starting, I want to mention that at any time you are smashing a monster due to having enough strength to pick it up, you should be letting go and re-grabbing it after each smash. This helps to prevent the monster from leaving its picked up state, because usually after too long of holding the monster, it forces you to let go. It's kind of like on a timer. So just in between throwing the monster around, make sure to let go and re-grab to reset this so-called timer. Starting with the peeper, this is the eyeball you see on the ceiling that forces you to look at it. And after looking at it for too long, it will deal 2 damage about every second. For this enemy, you need to break line of sight using whatever you can find. So you can exit the room you entered and use a wall. You can also crouch under tables and use those. While attached to the eye, you can also open up your map to help you navigate around. This helps you not fall in pits and even exit the room you entered. Enter the room and trigger it, or it will continue to stay longer. The duck is a monster that has 150 HP and deals 10 damage per hit on its attack. The duck will try to follow you wherever you are looking because it is trying to get you to grab it. Grabbing the duck also puts it in attack mode, where it will chase you for some time before going passive again. Also, if the duck takes any damage at all, even from other monsters, it will get very angry. Your best bet is to get as far away from the duck as possible and create distance if you do aggro it. You can also sometimes circle the duck, but usually you need to be sprinting in a circle, otherwise it can hit you. And it's really easy to kill this guy using cauldrons, toilets, pits, or extractions just by aiming your mouse at them and looking a little bit up in order to make it jump. And also, if you have a high enough tumble launch, it is really easy to tumble into it for the kill. The animal is a monster that has 150 health and only does 2 damage per hit and is more annoying than anything. How it works is when it sees you, it will freak out and run at you. After knocking you over, it will just run around randomly. If you get on a table or any higher ground, it can't get you and will just run around in a panic. So once you have 4 strength, you can easily pick up this enemy and toss it around or throw it in a pit. You can also use your friends to do this. These 2 methods are really easy ways to handle the animal. The bow tie has 100 health and does 5 damage at a time during its blowing attack. It is a line of sight based enemy that will blow wind at you, dealing a lot of damage if you do not get behind an object in time. Every so often after an attack, the bow tie will stomp off, running very far away. The bow tie can be picked up straight from the ground and tossed at around strength 7, and the bow tie can also blow other enemies and do damage to them as well. For the bow tie, I just recommend avoiding it as it's pretty easy. If you choose not to avoid it, tranq gun and shotgun are really good options. The robe has 250 HP and does 100 damage during its standing attack and 50 damage during its crouched attack. It is based on line of sight, so if it sees you, it will walk slowly behind you, following you, and if you look at it, then it will dash towards you. So the strategy is just to walk away from it without looking. You can also use the edge of your screen to figure out how close it is to you, and it's really easy to get away from if you just crouch behind something or under a table. On longer tables, you can avoid its attack and just watch it wiggle at you. Using these tables, you can also keep it permanently attracted to you to help out your teammate by grabbing the robe from under the table and just staying out of its attack distance, just watching it jiggle. Do be careful, as its attack does deal damage to any teammates around it, not just the player it's attacking. You can pick up the robe at level 13 strength in order to throw it around. I recommend using any sort of weapon to kill it, like tranq gun, shotgun, grenades, etc. The rugrat or baby is an annoying enemy that will pick up your loot and throw it at you, dealing a lot of damage to you and the valuable item. I do believe it does more damage the larger the object is that it throws, and the baby has 150 health, but can be picked up and tossed around at strength level 4. You can also pick up the baby if multiple people are around to help. A really good way of dealing with it is using the scroll wheel with a smaller item in order to just bully the baby and kill it, as the orb you get from it is around $4,000, so it's worth. The clown is a monster with 250 health that has 2 attacks. Its first attack is a laser that it will wind up and always point at the target's head. So if the clown is on you and you are standing when it begins shooting the laser, all you need to do is crouch. And if it started shooting at you when you were crouched, just jump over the laser. After shooting the laser, if you are in its line of sight still, it will rush you for its second attack, which it will kick you. You can actually jump over this kick attack by jumping right as it brings its leg back. Its laser does 100 damage and its kick does 60 damage. It is based on line of sight, so once again, crouching around really helps to not be seen by it, and at 13 strength, you can just pick up this enemy and toss it around. The huntsman is different from other monsters as it relies entirely on sound. So making any sound will cause it to shoot in the direction of the sound. This includes text chat, other monsters, and bumping into them. The huntsman has 250 health and will deal 100 damage if it shoots you. You can pick up the hunter with ease starting at 9 strength. There are a few tricks with the huntsman that are extremely good. The first is that when walking down any stairs, it will fall, allowing you to pick it up and drag it into a pit. Monster, it has 150 health and deals 10 damage per hit. When it sees you, it will pull out its knives and wind up for an attack. For its attack, it will lunge at you, flailing its knives, but if you just run out of the way as it jumps at you, it's easy to avoid. Also during this animation, it can be picked up and slammed with multiple people. The chef can also be picked up when at 9 strength. If you don't have enough strength on picking it up, and you don't plan on using weapons on it, just scroll wheel small items into it and it's a really easy way to kill it. The Headman has 250 health, does 50 damage per attack, and can be picked up and thrown at level 13 strength. The Headman will dash at you when it sees you and is super fast. It helps a ton to be crouching around him, as when you're standing and your flashlight is on, it can aggro it from very far away. Your best bet is to break line of sight and hide under a table when running away from the Headman. A cool trick I found was by crouch sliding under him as he's aggroed and staying crouched, you will only take 50 damage, but you will also make him lose you. There's no great way I've found to kill this guy yet without either using the 13 strength, a medium item, or a weapon from the shop. The Hidden is an invisible enemy that you can barely see the footsteps of when it is walking around. It has 100 health and can be picked up at strength level 4. The Hidden is based on sight, and if it spots you, then it will chase you, pick you up, and take you extremely far away, carrying you. The Hidden doesn't do any damage, but can be very bad when it carries you into an enemy or if it drops you in a pit when placing you down. It's recommended to pick this guy up if you have 4 strength, or use a small item to bully him. If you happen to get grabbed, your teammate can actually grab you from the Hidden to save you from being taken away. The Mentalist or Alien has 150 health and does 50 damage with its attack. When the Mentalist sees you, it will float in your direction. Once reaching close proximity, it will lift you up and anything else around, making it so you cannot escape. Then it will toss you down, dealing 50 damage. During this animation, someone with range can grab you from the bubble and save you before you get slammed. You can pick up the Alien at only 4 strength levels, giving you an easy way to kill it. Otherwise, I recommend using weapons from the shop, such as the trank gun or shotgun. The Reaper is yet another line of sight based enemy, and its view distance is very short. It has 250 health and deals 10 damage per hit. When the Reaper sees you, it will march in your direction, swinging its bladed hands. Look out, as it will destroy any valuables in its path as well. It's really easy to escape from just by running a short distance and crouching. It takes level 9 strength to pick it up, so weapons from the shop are going to be your best bet. Once again, I'm a huge fan of the trank gun. However, be careful as it can hit objects out of your hands when its arms are flailing about. The Shadow Child is easy to avoid, but really annoying to kill. It has 150 health and does 30 damage. How the Shadow Child works is, if you look at it too long, signaled by the growing arms from the side of it, then it will pull you in, dealing damage. Basically, you can just use the edge of your screen to identify where the Shadow Child is. For killing it, you can grab it with 9 strength and try and toss it around, but usually it disappears before you can kill it. Even when throwing it in pits, it likes to disappear before reaching the bottom. So, using a melee weapon or gun is your best bet, although I prefer to just leave it alone. In a pinch, you can tumble roll into it, taking 5 to 10 damage yourself, and this will force it to disappear. The Spewer is this little fish thing that swims around. When it sees a player, it will freak out and start vomiting while getting closer to a player. When it is in very close proximity, it will latch onto the player's face, deepening their voice. It will then vomit occasionally from the player, so make sure not to look at valuables or other players as it will damage them. You can use this as a weapon, but a very weak one. The Spewer is harmless to you on your face and only does 10 damage if you are hit by its green juices. You can easily kill it with 3 strength or friends by smashing it around, or using a small valuable object to bash it. I wouldn't say it's worth using shop weapons on it, and hiding under objects is also a fine way to avoid it. The Trudge is the largest enemy with 500 health and deals 100 damage per attack. When it sees a player, it will smash its mace down, dragging in nearby players, and then have an AoE blast effect. This blast will affect not only players, but also valuables, so be careful. This usually doesn't hit you through walls, but be careful because it can. The Trudge is also slow, and like most enemies, avoidable by just crouching around and not getting too close. It's able to be picked up at 13 strength, but I recommend using the trank gun for the easiest kill. You can also use baseball bat if you are able to get close enough, but it is a little scary. I usually just avoid the Trudge in games instead of killing it, as it's very easy to do so. If strong enough to handle medium objects, you can also stun it with them, but here you can see how easy it is just to avoid the attack. I just get really close and then back up. The Upscream is a crazy dangerous enemy when encountered around pits and other enemies. Otherwise, it's quite easy to deal with. It only has 50 health, making it super easy to kill with a small item as long as you get the jump on it. It deals only 10 damage per attack, but will attack over and over as long as it sees you before running away, and usually you can't get away from these attacks. When it attacks, it will walk at you, grab you, and throw you in ball form so you cannot move. Then it will grab you again, usually before you can get back up. You do only need 3 strength to toss it around, so that is a great strategy, and as mentioned before, just hitting it with a small item is very worth it, as the soul it drops is around 3,000. Something really cool is if you are up against a wall and it tries to throw you, you will bounce back into it, dealing about 25 damage, half its health. The gnomes are pretty simple. They have extremely low HP, allowing you to grab them and toss them anywhere for them to break. They will try to get close to you and do 10 damage if they hit you. If you are near valuables, they will try and attack the valuables, so keep an eye on your cart when gnomes are around. A really helpful tip for gnomes is just by holding left click, anytime you hover over the gnome, it will automatically grab it. From there, just smash it. You can use the similar strategy on the bangers. It's another simple enemy and can be extremely bad around pits. They also have 50 HP, and they will first light their fuse and walk as close to you as possible. Before they explode, they will make another sound animation and scream before blowing up. This explosion does 30 damage if you are right on top of them, but also sends you flying. The best way to handle these guys is throwing them in pits, holding them in the fireplace, or just smash them up and down while holding them. If you are holding a banger away from you, when it explodes, it also won't do any damage. So if it's just one banger, you can literally just grab it and hold it away from you if it's about to explode. Some additional tips. Most enemies will turn towards you if you sprint near them, but they don't turn if you are just walking. For the bigger enemies that require 9 or 13th strength to pick up, I recommend using the shotgun or trank gun. Additionally, if you're a fan of the melee weapons, the baseball bat and sledgehammer are great options. Also, you can use medium objects to bash these enemies. For the smaller enemies, I recommend taking the strength route and tossing them around with yourself or friends, or just using small objects. Any enemy with 250 health, you can kill instantly with the clown valuable, just by honking its nose 3 times. The 3rd time you honk its nose, it will make the clown head start spinning and give you a few seconds to throw it at an enemy before it explodes. That's it for this video. Currently, we are on a level 33 duo run that we will be continuing later.